Hello and welcome to this channel where I share tips and tricks to get more out of X-Plane 12. Today we're going to focus on slow flight. I'm using X-Plane 12.3.0 Beta 2 on a Mac running Tahoe 26. The airplane that I'm using is the V Skylabs Mall M7. It was my first purchase, first add-on for X-Plane 12. And look at this beautiful dynamic sky. So first things first, we're going to start with our departure. Going to release our brakes and gradually add power. I'm going to climb to about 400 feet, and that will be my target altitude for slow flight. As you can see, this plane is a strong climber. It's 2,000 feet per minute, so now I'm going to pitch the nose over, do my power reduction. There we are, about 400 feet, still climbing. All right, power to idle to go right into slow flight, and my goal here is to look at my airspeed indicator, my vertical speed indicator, and altitude. And as the plane slows down, I'm going to add first notch of flaps, pitch change, second notch of flaps, and add power as I'm approaching slow flight so I don't stall. There we go. And lower the nose, adjust the trim just a little bit, and here we are, slow flight. Gonna add my last notch of flaps, and now we're about as slow as we can go. Now I can slow down just a little bit more by reducing the power and pitching the nose up. And while I'm doing this, I'm just maintaining altitude. And a quick glance at my vertical speed indicator, I notice that I'm losing a little bit of altitude, so I'll add power to compensate. So this is about as slow as I'm gonna go comfortably. Any slower and I'll be too close to the stall bar. So now that we're doing slow flight, I'm constantly scanning between my pitch attitude, my vertical speed indicator, and my altimeter and my power gauges. This is the last thing that I glance at. Now, the next thing to practice is turns. So to turn to the left, I'm going to bank, and as I introduce bank, I'm going to add a little bit of power to make sure that I maintain my altitude. When you're banking in slow flight, you're going to notice that you're going to tend to lose a little bit of lift as you enter the turn, so just add a little bit of power. Okay, and I'm just descending a little bit just to get back to 400 feet, as that is my altitude. So we're gonna level out and then reduce the power a little bit. And as I approach 400 feet, I'm gonna add a little bit of power to maintain altitude. So here we go. Okay, so we've made our turn in slow flight, again, by paying attention to the VSI and the power and the pitch. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna practice in slow flight, and you should too, is climbs in slow flight. So to do so, you add the power and the nose will naturally come up. So you want to just maintain a pitch attitude that maintains your speed. So you're looking at your vertical speed indicator, and now I'm climbing way too fast. Really want to target 500 feet per minute. So to reduce your climb rate, you're going to just bring the power back just a little bit. And there we go. So now we're approaching 700 feet. I'm going to level off, push your nose over the initial pitch attitude, bring the power back to the initial power setting to maintain altitude. And I make just fine control changes, whether it's power or pitch, to maintain altitude. And next thing we're going to do is practice a descent. So to descend, you simply reduce the power. Carburetor heat is already on, and what I'm looking for is 500 feet per minute. So I will increase the power until I get that rate of descent. Now this is great practice, especially in a terminal environment when you're approaching to land, you're working in a pattern. You want to be able to control your airplane in slow flight. This will help you on your instrument landing approaches, your VFR approaches. You'll know how to control the airplane in that regime. So now we're looking for 400 feet. So I'm still descending at 500 feet per minute, looking at my power gauges, my pitch, my airspeed indicator, making sure that the speed is not increasing, because if it's increasing, that means my pitch is too low. All right, at altitude, you slowly add power back to your initial power setting, and now you're maintaining your altitude, and slight adjustment to reduce decline as happening. There we go. All right. Finally, what we're going to do is we're going to use this technique to approach to land. So I'm going to start my turn again and adding just a touch of power, not too much, and then banking to make sure that I'm not gaining altitude. Watching my airspeed, my vertical speed indicator. Making my turn, I can lose a little bit of altitude to get to 400 feet. By the way, when you're practicing this airplane is very stable. It is very easy to practice slow flight. All right, gaining a little bit of altitude, so I'm going to reduce the power, and now we're going to start our descent toward the runway. And in this case, since we're going very slow, I don't need a high rate of descent, so I'm going to control my rate of descent by throttle. Pitch up just a little bit to slow down. Bring the power back. Controlling my rate of descent with my throttle and my airspeed with my pitch. So I'm coming in a little high. See the VASIs, precision approach lights, the PAPIs are all white, but that's okay, because if I bring my power to idle, I can increase my rate of descent, and since I'm not going forward very fast, my rate of descent is going to be very steep. It's like coming down an elevator for a spot landing. So here we go, maintaining speed by controlling pitch, and you can just see the plane is just falling out the sky. As I approach the lights, I'm going to add power to reduce my rate of descent to make it closer to a 3-degree glide path. It's a little steeper than that, but I'm just demonstrating to you how you can control your rate of descent with your throttle. So there we go, maintaining our descent rate, and I can slow down just a little bit. There we go, reducing. We are down. There we go. And the tail wheel is down. We'll bring the power to idle, and then we touch on the brakes. And as you can see, with this slow flight approach to landing, you can use minimal runway distance, and you can land in very tight places, and you have great control of the airplane in slow flight. So once again, in summary, you control your airspeed with your pitch, you control your altitude with your throttle, you're scanning at your artificial horizon, your rate of climb, VSI, your altimeter, your airspeed indicator, and your power gauges. So your power gauges are your attitude indicator and your engine power gauges, and your performance gauges will be your vertical speed indicator, your altitude indicator, and also your airspeed indicator. So this is how you can master slow flight. It will work in any airplane, whether it's a jet or a GA aircraft. It's simply a matter of balancing your pitch and your throttle settings. You want to practice that in your airplanes, you'll get comfortable at slow flight. Alright, so this concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this presentation, why don't you consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up so more people can see it. Thank you so much for tuning in. For the new subscribers, welcome on board. So glad that you're journeying with me. And for those who are joining today, I look forward to sharing more content with you. Happy simming. Have a great time in X-Plane 12 or your preferred sim of choice. And I will see you in the next video.